Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday coffee hour. Our first official coffee hour since last December. So what do you think of the new room? I designed it, so thank you. For all of that. So we're going to do our normal announcements, and then we have a special guest speaker today who's going to talk more about our project. But first, I'd like to kick it off with our MVP of the month of June. Where's Marcy? Come on up. Does everyone know who Marcy is? No. Okay, well you should visit the health center because Marcy is just a wonder. She's amazing. She does quite a few of our activities, and I get to see her every day working because my mom lives in skilled nursing, so I get to see the whole team they do such a great job. But Marcy got a few nomination forms, and I'd like to read through all of them. And so they weren't all signed, but I know they came from her colleagues and staff up in skilled nursing. So you know if your peers recognize you, it's pretty special. Marcy is an exceptional activity leader who creates moments and activities that bring comfort, laughter, and connection to the residents in skilled nursing. Her patience, kindness, and creativity consistently brightens the atmosphere for both residents and coworkers. She makes everyone feel included, valued, and excited to participate. She always goes above and beyond. And then there's a special note: skilled nursing staff really appreciates Marcy, with a big smiley face. Marcy is an amazing person to have as an activities person. She's always hands-on and active with residents, even those that cannot do things for themselves. She goes above and beyond. We're grateful to have her on staff here at Fox Run. I have 27 of these, so you're going to have to clap a lot. Just kidding, there's a couple more. Always goes above and beyond, keeping residents entertained, interacts great with all of them. She is great and incredibly friendly with everyone, employees included. Marcy is kind and caring. She's good with residents. She thinks about new ideas and crafts to do each week. She takes extra time with each resident. And finally, very hands-on with residents. She goes above and beyond for residents, and activities are amazing, very creative. So as I said, I see Marcy in action every day, and not everyone can participate as much as others. And to see the hands-on, the one-on-one, and the patience, because some days it can be challenging, and your patience is incredible, and we're so grateful to have you. And they're not just your standard activities either. There's some really neat stuff that she does. And I know my mom's very proud and gives me stuff to hang in my office that she made that Marcy helped her with. So Marcy, thank you so much for everything you do. You're very special, and we're so glad you're here. Just like her sister, she's a little shy and does not want to use the microphone. Thank you so much. Okay, let me switch pages. Amazing how you can't see when your glasses are on your head.
Yeah. Oh, there.
That's right. Okay, Lisa.
Oh, Lisa.
I'll be short and sweet, I promise. I just wanted to make note of, I'm going to put it in the newsletter as well, to talk about the scooters and wheelchairs and walkers that are in the bistro in our dining areas. For your safety of staff, safety of everybody, we want to make sure that those are kept outside of the dining area. They're kind of moving their way in, so I just wanted to do a little refresher. If you can park it outside, it should be parked outside. So really the only thing that should be in the dining rooms is if you are seated in something that you need to be in and can wheel up to the table, then please be in that. Otherwise, leave it outside and come into the bistro edge and get what you need to. We're seeing them parked along all the edges, in the corners. please don't do that. What's fair for one is fair for all, even if you think it's a nice little tucked away corner, that they do build up and they're becoming a bit of a issue to maneuver. So we just, check out the newsletter, my section on the bottom there on the back, and if you need a little crash course in that. But otherwise, that's it. I see some hands. Janice?
When you told me about my scooter, I put it against the doors. It's like a little parking area for all.
Along the glass doors,
Yeah.
in the pre-dining area.
And you told me that you were gonna keep them like that, so we could do.
Yeah, the doors that stay shut, you can park along there. Anywhere outside of the dining room, there's areas.
The new space that we created for them.
The new coat area, yes, the coat rack, the walkers fit nicely right under there. There's plenty of spaces, and I saw a hand over here.
Yeah, it also includes breakfast and lunch, doesn't it?
It does include breakfast at lunch. Lunch is very busy, which is fantastic. We're loving seeing everybody come down and enjoying everything, but it includes breakfast and lunch. And again, don't park up against I'm gonna say the kitchen wall. We're seeing a lot of parking there. The staff can't get through either to get what you need, so, okay?
What about someone that needs the walker to go in?
If you need the walker to go in, just like at dinner, we do help. I know we don't have someone at lunch designated, but we will help as we can. If you have a resident who also can help, we'll all work together on that. And if there's a case by case, we can chat individually about that. Alona?
Shall we feel offended if we tell someone that they should not have that scooter inside the bistro?
I'm gonna let us all handle that as we should as adults and not get offended by the rules in the handbook.
Thank you.
Okay? All right. Who's next?
Good morning, everybody. We have a couple new community members in the audience today. Mike and Anita Sheehan just moved in. Do you mind raising your hands? Mike and Anita, welcome. Really glad to have you. I see you out and about already, so thank you. And then we have Bob and Betty Zuger. I just spent some time with them the other day, so welcome to Fox Run. Thank you. The only announcement I had, we're not going to have a third coffee hour this month because the third Friday is the Resident Association meeting. So that's at 9:30. I encourage everybody to come to that. And this is not in the calendar. This was a late addition, but that day on the 19th at 11 a.m. we're going to have Joanne Folletta back on campus. So Joanne, if you're familiar with her, she's a very famous conductor for the BPO. She's a good friend of George Herbert. So George came to us and said, Joanne would love to come back, and I reached out to her assistant, and she's very excited. So we will be posting about that early next week, but you're hearing it here first. So please come down and stay after the association for that. Do we have any community member announcements? Yes, Marja.
Yarn and Thread is suspended until fall.
Yarn and Thread is suspended until fall. Thank you. Jerry.
Good morning. My name is Jerry, and I was on the bingo committee with for the Federal Reserve Employee the Fox Run Employee Appreciation Fund, and we wanted to give her. Nancy Kresge asked someone to give a report for her because she had to be away today. So we wanted you to know that 66 game cards were sold at $10 a piece for $660. There was a 50-50 split club, and the profit was $140. And another cash donations of $270 for a total of $1,070. So we thank you all for your Congratulations when we do it again. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Alona.
My usual report on tabs, especially new people. Please keep collecting our tabs off of any of your cans. I don't care if it's food, pop, whatever. They're in the trash rooms. And thanks to Bev Rice, I found out way at the other end of the north. I did not realize that. And I thank you, Bev, for taking care of those. And please remember, when you take them in there, if you're able to take the tabs off, please do. because if not, then maintenance and myself and a couple of other people have to do it. I understand sometimes your fingers are pretty rough, and I don't have a problem, but it's for the Shriners, and again, thanks to Alan, Glenn Davis for taking them when we get enough of them, and I appreciate his help and everybody who does it. Thank you, and God bless all of you.
Thank you. I think Liesl has a couple announcements this morning. Oh, sorry, one more. Bobby?
The choir will be performing next Friday, and I know you all like to come, and come with your voices because you'll have opportunities to sing some patriotic songs.
Thank you, Bobby. That's a great announcement. I forgot. So the choir concert is next Friday at 11 a.m. right here in the Maloney Center. So please come down and support our choir. They do a lot of great work all year. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hi. So excited to be in this space today. How awesome. I have a couple things to tell you. I am going to be putting out a memo today, so you'll get that as well. But we are expecting a one-day campus-wide power shutdown. We're thinking that that's going to be Wednesday of next week, but it is dependent on some outside sources, so we don't know for sure. But I just want to give you the heads up that we are looking at that down the road here, maybe sometime next week. But we'll send out some more memos and some definitive information for you as soon as we know.
Do you know what that's going to impact?
So it is going to be campus-wide, but we will have...
It's only going to be the commons.
Oh, it'll just be the
Health Center,
commons.
And it'll affect the patio homes towards the rear part of the campus. But the patio homes in the rear will have generator power. The Commons building and Health Center building will still be on generator power. Independent is not affected.
So Independent is not affected, if anyone didn't hear Matt. And the rest of the campus, we are going to be on generator power. So, and those details will be included in those communications coming up. Okay, so that will be on the agenda. We also have on June 12th, Friday at 3:30. Keep an eye out for another get-together in the South Lounge. We're going to do a special get-together. We are going to be seeing that window come out. We knew that was going to be coming. I know, but we're going to do a toast to the window, maybe share some special memories. And I think it's going to be a grand event. It's going to be wonderful. So we'll do a nice event.
Is that window going anywhere?
So that window, there's not currently a plan for it, but yeah. So Janice was asking if there's a current plan for the window. Not at this time, but we're always discussing. We're always finding out. Yes, Sue.
With the power shutdown, will it affect dining services for either lunch or dinner or breakfast?
There will be menu changes, and the limited as much as possible, because we will still have some power on generator, and that will be communicated in the memo.
Yes.
And we're
So-
gonna make it fun. We have some fun ideas too.
So, and this announcement is really to give you a heads up. We don't have a definitive date yet because it is dependent on NYSEG being here. Lehigh is coordinating with a lot of outside people. So as soon as we have more information on that, you will get all the details, I promise. Okay? All right, and I will have a few more items on the memo, but for now we're gonna bring Bill back up.
I just have to have I can talk all the time. So I did want to talk about this room just for a second before I introduce our guest speaker and what a difference it is. And unfortunately, it's not done yet. There's still going to be some artwork on that blank wall over there. And as you can see, we have a homemade screen. This is not the plan going forward. We had really hoped it would have been at least functional at this point, but there's an outside firm that does it. And they do need to come back, and then of course they're going to train our staff how to use it. And I really think it's going to be amazing. So, and was anyone here for the jazz trio that was here the other night? So we didn't ask them the question, but they unsolicited told us, playing on this stage, the sound was amazing and one of the best places that they've played. So we're really excited about the future of all of our presentations here. So now, without further ado, questions?
Is there going to be a clock? The clock used to be up there. Yes.
I don't know. Mary Lou says yes. I don't know. Our designer has artwork, beautiful artwork. There's pictures of buildings in the Buffalo area, famous historical buildings. I don't know about the
I
clock.
bet we still have the clock.
And so we'll work that out. Sue.
For newer residents, the name of the Maloney Center is in memory of Mike Maloney, our first CEO, who was here for a number of years until he developed Lou Gehrig's disease and could no longer fulfill his responsibilities and then died of Lou Gehrig's disease.
Thank you, Sue. Yes, this room, it does hold a special place in my heart. Mike was my predecessor. He hired me. He was my mentor. And yes, and you can see his picture and the plaque on the wall. Mike was a very special guy. He kind of set the tone for the culture of Fox Run, and I just hope I'm doing a good enough job to keep his legacy going. So thank you for that, Sue. Thanks, Sally. You get to come back to work next week. Thank you for that. All right, it's my pleasure to introduce the designer of much of everything that's happening here with our expansion, our new buildings. Very creative, not just creative minds, but personality that works so well with our culture. And we're able to throw things at him and change gears in a moment's notice, and he just goes with the flow, and just really a nice human being as well. So without further ado, Pat Nixdorf from EGA Architects.
Good morning, everyone. Everybody hear me okay? I'm not used to using a microphone, so if I'm doing anything wrong, let me know.
They'll tell you.
So a lot of you were probably here roughly a year and a half ago when I gave a similar presentation. We're gonna spend more time talking about the commons amenities today. We're gonna talk about the landscaping. And for those of you that remember the last time we were here, we did sort of a three-dimensional walkthrough of things. Anybody that wants to stick around at the end, we can do that again today. I could probably speak for 2 or 3 hours here, but nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to listen to that, so we'll just get going. You want to do the lights?
Sure.
So I think first and foremost, it's nice that you're finally getting some of your space back. Nice to have this room available. The dining room is coming soon. And more than anything, the area that they're working on where the admin used to be is filled with a bunch of spaces that you don't currently have, or at least much better versions, hopefully, of the ones. So we're gonna walk through here. Hopefully most of this is pretty pictures. Don't spend a lot of time looking at plans because they're too small, they're confusing. Like there's too much to explain going into this. But here we are, we're sitting in this room right here, front door, community building, healthcare center, the main IL. Here's addition number 1, addition number 2, addition number 3 is here. The new patio homes are over here, and the new sort of outdoor pavilion and sport court is going here. There's some landscaping elements that I'll talk about as part of the presentation a little bit later. But for now, we're gonna just talk about what's going on in this building. This is the plan of what it used to be. A reminder, we're all sitting in here. This room used to be a little smaller. There used to be some mechanical space and some storage back here that we got rid of, threw that stuff up on the roof, made this room a little bigger, got you your stage. But otherwise, it's not very interesting drawing. As you guys experience every day, this is a very complicated process. Lots of phases. We're stealing parts of the building from you all the time. This diagram, as confusing it is, I'm not even going to bother to explain it, but you can sort of see moving from top to bottom on the upper left, sort of is the order that these spaces get taken over and renovated. But we're jumping all over this building all the time, doing different things. You guys interact with the guys from Lehigh every day. Hopefully they're treating you well and being nice to you. So we're gonna start with what we call the wellness area, sort of wellness exercise. Creative Arts is also up there. That's the part that they're doing the most construction on right now. I'm sure you hear the sawing and the pounding all the time. It's impossible to do silent construction, sadly. So we're gonna sort of go around the room, or the building counterclockwise. So we're gonna start in that corner, sort of work our way around, eventually ending up in the pub area. In the far right corner, where Bill's office used to be, is going to be a new creative arts room. All these renderings, you guys have seen a couple of the color renderings, the one of the library and the pub that are up in the marketing area that we've shown you a few times. I'm going to show you a bunch more spaces, but the pictures are just going to be black and white because it's very dangerous for me to show you colors if they're not tweaked exactly perfectly, because rendering real life is a very complicated process. But hopefully these will give you a sense of what these spaces are like. Creative arts room, dedicated for creative arts, unlike before where you were sort of sharing space and that was sort of a multi-purpose room. This room has dedicated art tables, storage for art equipment, sink, all the kinds of things that you would need in that space. This is a view from the opposite direction. This is the door that leads out into the wellness area. Cubbies for storing projects that you're working on and you're not quite done. And again, art tables, lots of nice windows in that room. We've essentially taken over, I think, 2 offices from previously to create this space, so it's a really big room. Three offices. These will tell me. Also up in that area is a massage room. Not just a massage room, you can use it for all kinds of different sort of treatments. Dedicated massage table that's actually pneumatic. Not a very good drawing of it, you'll see a picture of it later. But that's a dedicated space as well, something that you didn't have before. Brand new salon. Your old salon is a fairly cramped space. You guys are getting the most out of it, but we're gonna have 2 dedicated salon stations, 3 dryer chairs. There's a manicure table and a pedicure. This thing down here for pedicures, manicures, the salon stations. There's that massage table, so it's pneumatic, making it easier for people to get on and off of it. Pretty cool spaces, interesting things going on with the ceilings. As you can see, we've done some fun stuff with light fixtures in here. I'm sure they were a bit of a shock the first time you saw them. They were a bit of a shock for me. All of these rooms also get interesting light fixtures. What we're trying to do in all the new spaces is to make them brighter than I think they were before. I think it's one of the challenges that we saw when we first visited here and started working with you guys, was that a lot of these rooms seemed a little dim. I think those of you that have seen the dining room in its current state, that room I think feels brighter than it was before. And hopefully we give you control over that light, but you can have it brighter than it was before. There's a view of that room. It's a salon. You can see there's some interesting light fixture stuff going on, an interesting round element in the ceiling, some other interesting light fixtures. But you can tell from some of these spaces we're trying to honor the design that was here before, the inspiration, the Roycroft, the arts and crafts elements of it, but sort of try to riff on that a bit, improve it, make it a little bit more forward-looking. The new exercise spaces that they're working on now, there's really 2 main spaces there. There's a room with a bunch of equipment in it that I'll show you some pictures of. And then there's the addition to that, which will be for things like yoga and then any other sort of exercise programs that are sort of not equipment-based. I don't know what all the things that you guys do. I saw some weightlifting in here yesterday was set up. That room will be dedicated just for those purposes. So there's really 3 kinds of equipment that you're getting. This, I don't know if the final finish color that you guys chose was the blue one or whether it's a different one.
Black and gray.
So black and gray is yours going to be. I stole these from the manufacturer's website. So these are pneumatic equipment. The nice thing about the pneumatic equipment is that you can adjust the strength and resistance by teeny tiny little increments. So instead of going from like a 2-pound barbell to a 5-pound barbell, you can go from a 2-pound barbell to a 2.1-pound barbell to a 2.2-pound barbell. And that's really great for folks who, it's specifically designed for seniors because of the ability to give them more flexibility. It doesn't require that they sort of push themselves as far as quickly, but it's really great equipment for that purpose. Addition to that, you've got your sort of more typical cardio equipment. So you're gonna have a couple of dedicated treadmills. There's an elliptical machine, and there's a couple of different kinds of bicycles, a recumbent bike and an upright bike. And then again, there's another, this thing is similar to a, yeah, it's similar to an elliptical machine if you're familiar with that, but it's a sit-down thing instead of a stand-up.
Where's the entrance to the pool?
The entrance to the pool is right here. It used to be, if you remember, there was kind of a little hallway.
Yeah.
We pushed the door right to where you'll be walking into the pool. That's where the door is gonna be, instead of set back from that, to make this room as big as possible. And then the third kind of equipment, wrong way. Third kind of equipment I'm calling manual equipment, sort of typical weightlifting sort of thing, a pull-down machine, some benches for various weightlifting, rack for that. There's an interesting stretching machine for helping you get more flexible. I don't know that I've ever seen one of those in real life, so it looks a little bit like a medieval torture device to me. So those are the three kinds of equipment. Should be a pretty significant step forward in terms of the kinds of things that you guys will be able to do in that space. Without having to sort of work around, because we have this whole separate dedicated space that you're using this space for kind of now. You'll have a whole dedicated space for that you don't currently have. A couple little items up there, more recent changes. This is a view sort of coming from your front door of a new reception desk. It'll look a little bit like the one you've got, but we're gonna eliminate one of the doors we're gonna keep the door that's on the right of the reception desk and eliminate the one on the left and sort of push it there. And what's happening is in this room behind here is gonna be the place where your Amazon packages and all that sort of stuff get delivered. We really don't have a great location for that previously, and even now you have sort of those metal lockers set up. It's kind of an unideal way of dealing with that. So we've created a dedicated space for that. To go along with that, I know you guys have heard about moving the gift shop over to the health center. So we have more space over there to fit more things into it. Trying to get all of this stuff in one space was just gonna mean compromising all of them a little bit. So we've also added this sort of concierge thing, which I think Bill and Allison, everybody has talked to you about what that means, but there'll be a dedicated person for that. And in addition to that, they'll have access to those Amazon packages and whatnot. So those last two were very recent additions. That was not originally part of the project. We were gonna have your existing reception desk stay. That whole sort of entry sequence was gonna stay the same. All right. So, moving on to the dining room, which I think most of you have been on tours with Liesel, into there to see that. They're finishing up the last bits of that. There's a gentleman in there doing finished carpentry. I believe the furniture is going to be delivered towards the end of the month. There was a big delivery somebody notified me of today of what's called a banquette. If you know what that is, it's sort of a built-in booth that goes into that space. That should be installed relatively soon, I think. So that room, you guys should get back for your use relatively soon. And I think these images, since you've been in this space, you can probably sort of understand maybe how these images relate to that. So this is in the back corner of the new expansion, looking back towards the existing. You can see those sort of mobile decorative screens on either side that are installed in there today. There's a few elements here. There's a backlit glass panel that goes here that hasn't been installed yet. But most of this, other than the furniture, is in there and you can see it for yourself. Similar, this is looking from sort of near the outside wall by where the wait station is, looking back into the mostly existing dining room. The gentleman that's in there is working on this fireplace element here, and there's those screens off in the background. And then just moving on to the bistro, which would be the next big sort of component. We're not gonna steal the bistro from you until you have a place to dine. So the exact timing of that, I think, is a little bit up in the air. But when we're done, your bistro will have more seating in it. It'll be a little bit, hopefully a little bit more intimate. Right now, it's kind of a big open space. It has some acoustical challenges, I think, that you probably all experience. Gonna try to solve a bunch of those, similar to what we did in here, but create some other seating environments in there so it's not sort of just a big open space. This is a view from one of the doors to the kitchen, sort of by the sort of checkout line or the checkout location, which is, you can see a tiny little piece of it here. So you're looking back towards the lobby. You're gonna get a new training kitchen or exhibition kitchen here with some dedicated sort of seating for those activities. This is the new sort of wait station, beverage station over here, but then back into all the seating over there. A different view looking towards, this is the entrance to the dining room over here. This is the entrance to the pub, which we'll get to in a second. And then just a whole bunch of seating environments in there. So hopefully you'll see, as you sort of begin to experience some of these spaces that are being finished, some of the improvements. Hopefully we're solving some of the challenges that existed before. We're trying to accommodate the fact that you're gonna have, whatever, another 80 new friends when the new additions are in place. So we need space for everybody. And sort of last but not least, the corner that's over here, the library, as you know, is pretty far along. They installed that little window that you can look in there and see what's going on. It's a pretty fun space. This is very similar to the rendering that you guys have had for a while to look at. This is backed up a little bit from there, more standing a little closer to the pub, looking that direction, and pretty close to where that little window is. So hopefully they're starting now to install the bookshelves in here and all the millwork and casework that goes in there. But hopefully this, if you look through that little window, will look very familiar. Similar, this is a view from where the apartment addition, there's a corridor that runs into it from there too. You can see, again, some fun light fixtures going on in here. Big windows. That space should be pretty great in terms of natural light most of the day. Obviously in the evening it'll be the sun's on the other side of the building, but particularly in the morning and the afternoon, this should be a pretty great space to live in. Pub, similar to the rendering that we've shown you previously. Very similar view. You can see the golf simulator thing. We call it a golf simulator, but it has a bunch of other things too. It's not just about golf. It has all kinds of activities that you can do on it. I mean, I was looking at the thing, like, you can do dodgeball, which maybe isn't exactly what you'd expect from a group of folks like you, but it seems like it would be fun. There are a whole bunch of things that it's not just a dedicated thing for people who golf. View your pool table, the new bar in the background here. Off in the distance here is the entrance to the bistro. And the last piece of the puzzle on that end of the building is a brand new dedicated theater, roughly 20 seats, basically a really big TV, dedicated sound system. So lots of communities have people who watch movies almost every day, and we've been putting more and more of these kind of spaces in for them, so that the cinephiles amongst your population have a place that they can go and do that as much as they want. They don't necessarily have to use a room like this, because there's not 100 of you that want to do that every day. You can still have movies in here. Once all the projector stuff is up and running, it'll be amazing. Sound in here will be amazing. But this theater, you can use it for movies. You can use it for all kinds of smaller presentations. It should be a great sort of kind of multi-purpose, but the seating will be more comfortable, more for the kind you'd expect to see, like in a nice theater these days for watching a movie.
Wow.
And the very last piece of the puzzle, which again was a a relatively late addition to the project is a new multi-purpose room upstairs. It's gonna have a bunch of functions. They're gonna use it for board meetings, but they're gonna let you guys use it for sort of anything you want. Smaller group meetings that don't make sense to be in a room like this. It's essentially down, oops. Okay. You come up the stairs or off the elevator, essentially where the marketing office is set up right now, and where the greenhouse is. We're gonna expand out that direction and create a room big enough to have pretty sizable gatherings of various kinds. You could have cards and games in there. If you had a big group, some sort of like, I don't know, bridge tournament or something, you can use it for all kinds of things. It'll have some technology for presentations as well. And a decent amount of windows in that space, lots of natural light as well. So it should be a pretty great place to hang out in as well. So that's the common area amenity piece of my presentation. I'm gonna move on, we can do questions about that, and then I can go to landscaping. And then after that, I can do the 3D walkthrough stuff if people are still interested. Yes?
I just want to comment that the round tables in the dining room would be wonderful, because a table of 6, you really can't talk to the people at the end. And I think that's a great idea.
Repeat that, please.
Pardon me?
She was saying that she appreciates the fact that there are going to be round tables in the dining room. What we tried to do is provide you guys with a variety of seating opportunities. Like, so for example, there's all of the chairs in this room are all the same, because they all need to stack and they all need to be stored somewhere, and they're for a fairly specific purpose. But in the dining room and in the bistro, there are going to be different kinds of chairs. They're still dining chairs, but everybody's whatever. Everybody's butt's a little bit different. Everybody's a little different height. Like all of those sorts of things. We try to give you guys a bunch of variety so that you can find your comfort level in terms of those spaces.
The bar, our bar right now has a little stoop, I don't know what you call it, it looks like on the outside of it. And then the chairs have a little piece of wood. And when I get on them, I can do it by myself. I put my feet on the little thing and then put my other foot there, and I can swing myself up. If that's not like that, I'm not gonna be able to, and I can't ask anybody to lift me, thank God. But anyways, just think about how you're doing the bar, when the bar is built, and the seats that you order, okay?
I will talk to the interior designer about that specific question, because I don't remember exactly what that chair looks like.
Yeah, okay, and the last thing is, will we be able to have dinner in this room?
In this room?
No,
That-
in the multi-purpose room.
I think we'll be, it's gonna be similar to the Creative Arts Room, where if you wanna have a small event there, let's say a birthday party and bring in food, yes, we will be able to do that. And it's nice if Lisa has something planned that's special, we can use that space because the elevator is available for us to bring up carts as well.
Okay, so if I wanted to celebrate my birthday, I could have dinner up there?
Or better yet, if you wanna celebrate my birthday, yes, we can do that.
Thank you, I'm done with my thing.
Can you tell me the seating capacity of the bistro and the dining room?
Theoretically, yes.
What was the question?
Sorry, she asked what the seating capacity.
Yeah, we can't hear.
So the people asking the question could have a mic?
The question she asked is, what is the seating capacity of the dining room and the bistro? Off the top of my head, I believe that the dining room was like 136 people, something around in that line, and I feel like the bistro was in the 100-ish people, but I can check that after the meeting, and we can follow up.
Unfortunately, we don't have another mic. This is a borrowed system that somebody lent us, there's only one. So we'll just have to repeat the question.
And I can walk around, I can hand it to people that have more questions. Are there more common area questions? Yes.
How does the grocery store area fit into the bistro?
Oh, the market.
I didn't talk about the market. Let me go back to a plan of that area. So we did create, part of the reason I didn't is because it's not the most interesting thing to look at.
Oh my.
So next to it's actually on this plan. Here's your bistro, dining room, where we are today. Right nestled in there where your current bar is, where your current pub is, we're creating a new market that'll have dedicated refrigerated and frozen space for all kinds of foods, pre-prepared stuff by the kitchen staff as well, but also all the things that you'd expect to find in a market in terms of whatever, dry goods and snacks and all that kind of thing. So we have a dedicated space for that. That's probably, roughly speaking, it's a little bit bigger than your current pub, but it has dedicated storage and display areas, and it's gonna, I think, have a pretty fancy coffee machine theoretically in it for lattes and cappuccinos and things as well. I think they're gonna put out soup at certain times of the day in a sort of heated tureen, so you guys can go and get a meal there. So it should be a pretty cool space as well, and something that I don't think you really have today.
Is that gonna be a cash-only room? Is there gonna be a person there?
So there will be a kiosk, there'll be somebody manning it, and it will be able to use credit cards as well. And somewhere down the road, we may be able to do it. We're looking at technology that it'll be self-serve. You can use your fob or your badge and be able to pay for it. That's a little bit down the road, but it will be manned by a Fox Run dining staff.
You guys were pretty easy today. I feel like I got more grilling last time I was here. Maybe you're just all used to construction. Let me switch to the landscape. All right, so the first caveat that I'll put here is that I'm not the landscape architect, and I struggle to remember the names of plants in general. I can identify 3 or 4 kinds of trees. So you're not going to be able to ask me very specific questions about plantings. Any specific questions, I'd say get them to Liesel, and we can get them to the landscape architect, and he can respond in a more professional manner. This is a presentation that he gave to the group that I've listened to a couple times. So I'm sort of going to do a half-rate version of that presentation so you guys know what's coming. When we started to design this project, we identified essentially five locations on your campus for significant improvements to outdoor amenities and landscaping. The first one is between what we call Addition 1 and 2. I think you guys call it Arborview South and the South Annex. So that's number 1. Number 2, we won't spend a bunch of time in. It's sort of by the loading dock, improving that, some of the views out of the healthcare center in that location. Number 3 is where your existing bocce courts are, improvements in that area. Number 4 is sort of alongside the big addition that's going out here. Between it and the health center, there's a new sort of seating area out there. And the biggest of them all is number 5 up here, which is sort of a new pavilion, sport court, outdoor kitchen, a very sort of elaborate outdoor feature that you guys don't really have a version of today. So we're going to move our way 1 through 5, except we're not going to do 3, or no, 2. How many people live in, what is that part of it called now? South Arbor? Arborview South. So you guys are dealing with hammers and saws and all kinds of things all the time today. You probably have a few more months of fairly loud construction, and then it'll get much quieter when they're working inside. So a tiny bit more patience, and the worst of construction will go away. But when we're done, there's going to be 2 major landscape areas between those 2 new additions. So on the left-hand side, there's going to be a fire pit, it's not a pit, a fire feature There's a putting green and some general seating around that. On the right-hand side, there's a large trellis structure with seating underneath it. Do I have that wrong? And there's an outdoor grill on this side as well. So on one side, sort of a fire feature, sit around in the evening around a fireplace kind of thing, and I'll show you some pictures here. And on the opposite side, sort of a place to have like cookouts and sort of general seating and gathering as well. This was part of his presentation, sort of just to give you a flavor of it. These aren't necessarily the final things that were chosen, but they're in the ballpark. So some paving in those spaces. The picture of putting green up here. The fire feature sort of possibilities, although I think we ended up with a round one. Slightly larger view of that. Again, this is the putting green, a couple of different, all of the turf in this inner area is a synthetic product. So there's the sort of putting green piece, and then there's a sort of slightly higher nap version around it. The rest of it is all natural landscaping. So you can sort of see all these little circles and squiggles and things, and are trees and bushes and ground cover. There's a pretty elaborate landscaping and planting plan here that I think it would be better maybe at some point if you wanted to get the landscape architect and come talk to you guys, because I'm sure a lot of you have way more landscaping knowledge than I do, and he'd be a much better person to present that. But just to give you a flavor of it. On the opposite side, as I mentioned, a sort of trellis structure and an outdoor sort of cooking area with a grill. It's a gas grill. It has a timer and safety shutoffs and all kinds of things to keep people from getting into trouble. But you can sort of get a sense of the feel of it, hopefully. But again, so much landscaping around the edges of this. This is all natural grass, but trees, lots of plantings around the little seating and grill area, new plantings along the existing building as well to provide some privacy and separation from the new construction and the new outdoor spaces. Your existing bocce court, we're leaving where it's at, but we're going to add some additional seating in here and some additional paving, connecting it a little bit more integrally to the healthcare center over here, and then there's a path that runs out to the, say, the patio homes and ultimately out to the main loop road. But we're going to improve that area as well. You can see all of the colored trees and things going in here is all new from what exists today. And then number 4, which I told you was between addition number 3 here and the healthcare center, is a new seating area and trellis as well. So for residents of either the healthcare center or of addition 3 out here, and again, new trees along the road, lots of landscaping in that area as well. Trellis structure again. And then the big one is your new sort of pavilion and sport court area. So roughly speaking, your existing pavilion is basically located in the same area. We're going to replace it with a slightly bigger one and add this green space, which is a brand new sport court for pickleball and other similar sorts of things. And there's a sort of a seating area over here as well, particularly for people that are watching people play pickleball. But underneath this new pavilion is a large outdoor kitchen. Here are some views of that pavilion. So you can see in the foreground here, this is that kitchen area. So it's a sort of a decorative stone surface, stone face as well. There's kind of some bar seating in there as well. So I think you guys are going to be able to have some pretty great outdoor events when all this is done. Lisa's worked very closely with the landscape architect to design the equipment for that area. Yeah, I guess that's it. So that's the landscape piece of it. Anybody have any questions about that don't involve specific plant materials?
Yes, you haven't told us anything about about the landscaping behind the dining room?
Good reason why, because we were out here yesterday, standing out there pointing at stuff, making revisions to that very thing. So it's subject to some changes. We had a pretty elaborate discussion yesterday. We should be able to show you guys something relatively soon. But the intention is to both improve that outdoor seating area, improve the planting in that area. I know specifically that lilacs were mentioned. I know that someone in this audience has a particular fondness for them.
I didn't see anything on Carthy,
So let's see.
especially the south annex.
Yep, let me go back to the overall plan here. Back. So in the south, we're redoing the parking lot that exists today over here. And so your existing entrance into the south is right here, and it's gonna still be in that same location when we're done. So we reworked the parking over here, so no real significant changes to the amount of parking in that area. We did create a new parking area between those two buildings, which is sort of organizing element of these two outdoor areas. So there's some new parking in there. There is sort of a secondary entrance into this building from that parking right here. And there's a secondary entrance into the building over here. So anybody that parks in here, depending on where they live in here, will have a couple of routes to get back into the building.
South annex.
Yes, I think I'm
That's
in the
what
right
I'm
place.
concerned about. We had a parking spot before this construction, right outside my patio. I'm asking, what kind of parking are you going to have now?
Am I in the right place?
Yes. That gray spot is the new parking lot.
Yeah, so you'll have parking right outside your,
My apartment.
Yes.
Oh, okay, the gray area?
Yep.
Yeah, all right,
yep,
So on either side will be those new amenities that we spoke of.
yeah,
In the middle is the new parking area.
that's my question.
Yep.
Thank you, I can't tell what's the number.
understandable.
You live in Buffalo?
I do not.
I suggest that you don't do anything to that middle court area until after the construction is done, because we are having a hell of a time right now parking anywhere. We must have more than 25 construction vehicles in the place that are by construction workers, and we're not handling that very well. There's a number of things going on that take away from all the people that you see here may not be here when this is done. Okay? So all of the things that we're talking about are kind of not gonna help us. What's gonna help us is something now during this construction, and a little bit of consideration, empathy. Alona, she has a handicap, and she has to drive all the way around to the Commons. Everybody has bought scooters in order to move because they're not able to walk as far as they have to walk now. I wonder what can be done to help that. I don't know if you're the one to be talked to. Maybe you don't have the bulletproof vest on right now.
We have had discussions as a sort of I'll call it the design and construction team about the challenges associated with parking. Inevitably, you've got somewhere between, 25 and 100 people coming to work on your site from a construction side of things that you don't normally have. I think they're having ongoing discussions about how best to deal with the fact that those people are using up some of your space. So I think there is
They used to bus the people in when they started this winter. There were a few workers. If they were parking off-site far enough and be bussed in here, it would have saved an awful lot of construction. I used to work in construction.
Yep.
And I would have to walk a quarter of a mile at times with 100 pounds of tools. And I didn't get paid for that walking time. So we need to have more consideration for the residents that live here now, not the future. The other consideration is I don't see any way that we're ever going to have enough parking with the entire footprint of the 53 acres being eaten up. okay? We're gonna add 100 to 140 residents because some of those are gonna be tubes, not just one. So I hope that's gonna be a real consideration before you do all the landscaping. It's the only place to go.
Great comments, Bob, thank you. We meet regularly to talk about parking, and it is a consideration, and unfortunately, when they have to build these things, we do have to take parking away in order to do the underground work to actually put
Not
up,
arguing that.
to put up the actual buildings. There's a couple things to cover here. We had a lengthy meeting with Lehigh about subcontractors and how much parking space they need.
Even our own employees, Bill.
And I'll get there, Bob. And we did come up with a plan to use some of the parking at Brush Mountain. We got permission from the town to park on the roads here. It's a temporary thing. There will be times where it's tighter than others. We as staff have moved all around the campus. I can tell you I've been parking on the street over by the patio homes in the front to open up space. At different times of the day, it is a challenge more than others, but most of the time, there's quite a bit of open space. Yes, using Alona as an example, is a good one because the parking space by the south is gone completely. And it's one of those things that we hate to do, we didn't want to do, and we just ask for some patience that we will get that parking space back. And there will be plenty. We had a number of engineers, not named Patrick, review the amount of parking spaces at Fox Run. That number is going down considerably, but the number we started with was way more than we ever needed. Each parking spot, except for the north, we have aerial footage, we have camera footage, we went and looked at, the south was almost empty all the time, the commons was almost empty, and the employee lot in the back was almost empty before construction. Once all is said and done, the engineers in the town, they do a ratio to how many cars you need for a community like this. And we've been assured by the folks that planned it, when all is said and done, because they're gonna take this lot and they're gonna do lines a little differently, there will be plenty for everyone, including staff. Yes, there will be a new building up, there's gonna be possibly 100 new people moving in here. It doesn't mean there's going to be 100 new cars. It could mean 30 new cars. It could mean 70. But all of this was planned in the contingency in the process. So when all is said and done, we have to go on faith. We have to go on what the experts tell us that we will have enough. Now, as for during the construction process, yes, it is limited because they have to do the work. And we're doing the best we can to move staff around, even move staff off-site, because you are the focus. This is your home, we want to have plenty of parking. It may not mean you're parking close to your own apartment. It may mean, Alona, you're parking out here. And again, we appreciate your patience, but it's not forever, and it's the best we have at this time. Yes, Bob?
One more question. I think if anybody remembers driving down any road and somebody had to do, a contractor had to put water lines under something under that road, that was patched within days.
Mm-hmm.
We have all kinds of digs, and I think we could use a little cold patch, some kind of patch in order to keep down the dust, in order to make the roads more passable. The other thing is the machines are running on the roads that we're allowed to go on. I think they should have a flag now. Those big machines, these guys can't see everything, and not every one of us is as flexible as I am. All right? And then last but not least, just a suggestion, don't do the landscaping until you really look at what's coming in. Because by the time you're ready to do the landscaping, we're going to see people moving in by then. And you'll get a little better handle on what we're thinking it's going to be and what it's really going to be.
I guess I don't follow the don't do the landscaping part. What?
The landscaping can be cannibalized to become parking.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Some of our islands that are around, decorated with the trees, which I love the trees, don't get you. You know, I'm a big time tree person, but the parking's more important, or the type of trees can be smaller. The islands take up parking spots.
And I do appreciate the comment, but I will get the other half of the campus say, green space is more important than parking, please make sure you have green space. So it's all a balance, and I promise you, we will do the best we can.
I'm only talking about the sequence of events. Don't go and put all the landscaping in and then pay to have it taken out.
And that's a great suggestion, and we'll share that with Lehigh, but just also know that to change the sequence adds a lot of cost. And a good example is, say, the landscaping, or any part of the building. We can have them halt a process to make life a little easier here, but then those subs are leaving and coming back, and each time they do that, it changes the scope of work and it adds dollars to the project. So we want to be conscious of a lot of things. We want to be conscious of what your needs are for parking and for living in construction, but we also want to, ultimately, you're the ones that are paying for this whole project through service fees and ultimately as we pay down the borrowing. So we have to be conscious of all of it. It's not just one piece. There's a lot of moving parts, and I promise you, we're really working hard, Bob, to try to balance all of it and not take away, but to add. Now, as for the contractors and the flag man, every week we have a meeting with subcontractors, and we talk about safety first. And there is a safety, I don't know what his title is, he's in charge of safety for Lehigh. He's here every day because we're so close. And we talk with Tom Terhart, the project superintendent, and it's kind of a thankless job for him. He is on the subs to tell them, slow down, be careful what you're doing, make sure you're wearing your hard hats, all those things. But with the amount of contractors here, you're babysitting a lot of people. So safety is very important. I do love the idea of a flag person, because some of you are walking past the fence because there's not somebody blocking it. So there's some signage we're going to add to say, please don't come in the construction zone. There's a lot happening here, and I promise you, we're trying our hardest to make it safe and to make it not just for the future, but for the folks that live here as well. Sue.
At the end of the month, there is an outdoor concert. We always get people from the community that want to come to our concerts. Where are they going to park?
So the question is, we're going to have 4 concerts this year. Again, one of those things we're trying to do to create activities and create some fun here. You're not going to forget that you live in construction, but just to give a little something more back. Yes, so folks will be coming in to get close. Mostly it's folks here that are going to come to the concert, so you already have your parking space, but we're going to ask people to park on the ring road around the patio homes on the street, because there's quite a bit of street parking that we can offer, not parking spaces. And that's temporary for a couple hours. So I think we're okay with having people on the street.
That's different. Allison.
What did Allison tell you, Sue?
I said for some of our bigger events, we might look at valet service.
Okay,
That there were going to be shuttles going either to the companies across the road or up to Brush Mountain.
There will not be shuttles, there will be valet service, is what Allison had said.
We're looking into valet service for some of the larger events, like the holiday shop coming up in the fall. We were exploring it possibly for concerts, but not a shuttle service.
Yeah, so that's a little different. So these are for the events where there are going to be a lot of people from the outside. Like if we do an event here like the holiday shop, that will require some valet parking because we just can't bring in too many outsiders. There's not enough parking. But as for the concerts, there's not going to be as much outside traffic, and we're going to ask people to park on the street. Or if we feel like volume is going to be large enough, we can go to the valet service. Jan, did you have?
Yeah.
Are you scratching your head, Jan, or are you raising
No.
it? Oh. Janice.
Can we get a clock in here?
You brought us right back to where we started, Janice.
I'm looking at that wall, I'm wondering.
Yes.
Outdoor grill and outdoor vegetarian, can we use it as well?
So the question is the outdoor grill and the outdoor area over by the pavilion. Yes, that'll be for all of you to use as well, similar to the grill that's over by the gazebo area. You'll be welcome to use that. But we're also making it large enough and add some commercial features so that Lisa can do an event, a dining event out there.
One little thing that I'll add to the challenges that are associated with construction is that we're close to the peak of the contractor's footprint in terms of the amount of space that they need. Like those of you that are experiencing the additions that are coming up out of the ground, when they're building those, they need space nearby to pile all of the wall panels and the floor joists and all the things that go into the building. That stuff takes up a ton of space. As soon as that building sort of essentially looks like a building, has the roof sheathing on and all that sort of stuff, their need for space will dramatically drop. So at some point when they're putting up building 3 out here, that's gonna be, in terms of this part of the campus, gonna be the most sort of space intensive situation for them, although I think they've already taken all the space that they're going to get for that. So you'll never see it worse than that. But as soon as the building is up and all of that sort of structural elements, all the walls and floors and all that sort of stuff is in place, when they're starting to do drywall and putting in the mechanical systems and plumbing and electrical, the need for space for the contractor will dramatically reduce. They'll have more need for parking, which is part of the discussion, but in terms of the amount of space that they need to do their work, it should start to drop. Anybody have any other questions? Because otherwise we can do the 3D walkthrough for anybody that wants to stick around, or if nobody wants to do that, that's also fine.
Thank you.